All right, now we have to decide what we're going to send out. Okay, so we've got a choice here. Now let's take a look at this one. Okay, this is a postcard for a restaurant. Shows a before and after mobile site, and it has got a built-in loyalty program, but you can do one without as well. And if you didn't want to send the postcard, then all you got to do, and you want to mail something, all you got to do is click on size, click on number 10 envelope, and now it's an envelope, so we can stuff that envelope with something, maybe a flyer. Okay, so let's see what we got here. There's a flyer. Okay, if you're not out actually walking down the street and you want to mail out a flyer, this is the perfect one for Yellow Pages. Anybody that's using Yellow Pages? All right, and as I showed you before, actually with this one, all you got to do is take street views. Okay, or you don't have to take a street, but you can just put a default in there if you want. That's the default building, or you can just leave that background blank and let the words appear. Now, if they already had a mobile site, you could still use this because you're illustrating the loyalty button here, but you could probably modify this and just emphasize this loyalty button, and it would make more sense to them. And of course, if they already had a mobile site and you couldn't offer the loyalty program, then you wouldn't send it to them. All right, I showed you the wrong envelope. Actually, this is the envelope you'd send with the flyer. And it refers to the Yellow Pages online that we know they're paying for. So if the owner sees his storefront there and he knows he's not getting his return on investment from Yellow Pages online, he's paying probably $700 a month for nothing, you know. So he'll probably read what's inside this envelope, especially if it involves recovering lost advertising revenue. All right, so this is the right one to send. Okay, let's see what else we got here. All right, here we have a tent card. And as you can see, we flip through. You can see the different restaurants here. Okay, now the thing with this is it takes a little bit longer, a little bit more snipping out of pictures and setting up. So you're only going to send this to restaurants that are worthy of it. They have to be big enough that you think they might like it, basically. And I'm going to show you how to decide that in a minute. Okay, what else we got here? We got a flyer. Okay, this is for retail. I'm showing you a couple Canadian ones up here. This is the source. It's known as Radio Shack down in the US. Actually, you know, I contacted a franchise, and actually the franchise, right now I'm talking to them, they're very interested in it. We just have to convince head office, so I got the franchise lady working with me on this one. Okay, so this is for retail, basically. Okay, here's one that's made for SEO. This could be used for dentists, in this case roofing here. Again, they're just street shots that we put in, plus a snippet of their competition and some stats on their competition, what we figure their competition is getting and they're not getting. So you can use that for, like I said, dentists, roofers, pretty well any sort of service industry out there. You could use it for restaurants, but the other stuff we got is better for restaurants. And of course we can have matching envelopes for these type of letters here. All you have to do is superimpose the picture on the front and they'll open it. Even gatekeepers will open it, pass it on to the owners because it's quite unique. Okay, getting back to the spreadsheet. Now a couple little tricks if you're not familiar with spreadsheets is, let's suppose you got a squished in column like that. If you double click, it'll resize itself, okay? And if you actually run your mouse across the top of all where the letters are on the columns, and you double click, it does it for all the columns. Now, I actually don't want that for all the columns because I need some compactness here just so that I can see what I'm doing. All right, There. Now I've got everything in focus here. Now what we have to do is figure out what we're going to send to each one of these places here. Because as I said before, in Word, you can pick and choose which ones you're going to send out to whom. And if you've got email addresses, you got to keep that in mind. You're going to send out an email first rather than waste postage. All right, now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sort these a little differently. Okay. Now if you can click anywhere in the top here, click on Sort, and you get this box popping up, and and you make sure you click here where it says My Data Has Headers. And what that does is it looks at the top here to see if there's any wording in the top row, and that's the header row. Now you can pick which one you want to sort by. So we're going to do sort by email first, and now it's picked up all the email address, everything with an email address, okay? All right, now what I would do is I would send out a flyer first to these guys. Let's just see who responds first, okay? So in here we'll put a little designation for a flyer. I'll just put, I don't know, FL for flyer. And to copy that, you just click in the bottom right hand corner and drag it down. Right there, like that. Alright, and one thing I forgot to do, which I should have done first, is remove duplicates. Okay, so let's go. And it'll say, what do you want to do? Expand the selection? Yes. Okay, so it's going to check all the columns for if there's anything that's totally duplicated in any row, it'll get rid of it. And there was one. Alright, so now we're down to 66 prospects. Alright, now let's figure out who we're going to send a tent card to, because it's a little more work. I would look at this one. This one's actually got a mobile site. And it has a website. They got to have a website because that's the only place you can get out the graphics. And let's actually take a look at the place. Okay, so how you do that is you just highlight like this. So Control C. And you click on Maps like this. And we're going to paste the address, Control V right there. Alright, do a search, and now we got a street view. Okay, you can do this with anything, especially if you're going to do the flyers with the graphics. We'll do a couple of those too, but I just wanted to show you which ones we would pick for a tent card. Okay, now we're looking for this restaurant here, and do I see it anywhere? Okay, so we're looking for 217 James Street, and this is 200 to 298. Okay, now I'm looking down the street here, and on the other side of the street, and I don't see it. So, let's see, what's this? This looks like some sort of, let's zoom in here, a plaza or maybe it's in there. Anyway, so I can't tell. I probably am not going to do a tent card for that. Alright, let's check this one out here. Masala of India. Alright, it's got a yes. That's why I'm checking it. So we'll go Control C. Okay, there it is. I don't know. Doesn't look all that big. I'm looking for like a fancy restaurant, so no for that one. Okay, well that's probably not a good way of searching for it. I think what's better is if we get street views for these ones that we want to send flyers to, and then while we're looking at them we can see if they're big and beautiful, and maybe they should get a tent card instead. So the best way to do that is you sort by zip. As we'll do here. I'm going to sort by zip. And then we're going to add address. Okay, so it'll sort first by zip, then by address. Let's do that. Now, as you can see, we can tell which ones are going to get flyers, and because they've got email addresses there. So let's take a look at this here. Now, you'll notice that this Crab Pot and Fisherman's Restaurant have the same address. Now, what you can do is, now I've actually already checked this here, and this doesn't come up. This pier57seattle.com doesn't come up. So this must be an old listing here. So I'm going to actually get rid of it. This one here, this is really interesting. The Crab Pot. Okay. They got a really cool website here. Alright, I love that. It's sort of a cartoony thing, and it's quite interesting. I think, I'm going to zoom down and have a look at this one. This one looks like it could use a tent card, so let's zoom and have a look at it. Okay, I used the Google Street View, but, truck in the way. Let's see if we can get this. Alright, there it is there. Crab Pot. Wow. Now that looks cool. They're serving seafood. And according to the menu, there was some pretty hefty prices on there. Let's use our little roller wheel and zoom in on it. I guess it's closed today, but that looks like a pretty cool place. Now, I would probably do a tent card for that. Okay. But since they're on our flyer list, what we will do is we'll snip it out. Okay. So I'm going to use my snipper tool. And I got to save it somewhere. Alright, so on an older course that I did at the beginning of the year, which is got different technology, I created this Seattle food and then map here. And as far as the name goes, well, this is called the Crab Pot, so I'll say save as... So I'm going to say save as Crab Map, because we found it on the map, in the map view, and it's called Crab Pot, so I'll save. Okay, getting back to our spreadsheet. Since we're not going to really be looking at this stuff here, what you do is you roll your mouse across the top row there, where the letters are, then right click and say hide. Okay, then we're going to create another row here. We'll call it image, or actually we'll call it map. Okay, because we got it from the Google map. And the Crab Pot, we're going to call it crab map.jpg. Now there is a way of not having to put JPG on there, but that's going to be another lesson. It's a matter of manipulating the formula for that. But I'm going to just name it JPG so I don't confuse you. You see the transformation later, it'll save you some time, but I want you to get a clear idea how this works. Okay, so over here, we'll send out both. We'll send out a flyer and a tent card. So I'm going to just say FLTC. Means flyer and tent card, okay? And you can name it whatever convention you feel like, but it's comfortable for me to do that. Okay, now this Alaskan Way looks like it's right on the ocean front, and I'm betting that this is probably a swanky place as well. Probably they could use the same thing. So I could probably just stroll down the Google Street, but I'm going to do it an easy way. I'm going to get them to find it this way. Okay, I just click the back button and Control V. And that's down the road, as you can see, down the road. Alright, let's take a look. Yep, looks pretty swanky to me. Okay, so they are worthy of a tent card and a flyer because they've got an email address, so no harm sending them a flyer. So we're going to snip this one out too. And we try to keep it as a 2-to-1 aspect ratio. Just try to keep them the same proportion at all times. It just works out that way better in the flyer. And this is called Elliot's. So I'm going to say Elliot's map. Alright. go to Elliot's map.jpg. Okay, so let's figure out who we're going to send a postcard to, like a before and after picture. Now, I just went to the next one down here. I went to Emma Watson's Oysters, and they've only got a rating of 2. This is interesting. They've got an ad, a rating of 2. And then when I went in and actually did a search for it, they let their website expire. So this is probably not a good prospect. So I'm going to just leave these guys alone for now. Alright, so I've tried to find the next prospect here. These guys don't have a website. I'm going to leave them alone for now. Now I looked at Toscana Pizza here, and I popped it into the browser. Just take a look at it, and yeah, they got a website. Looks pretty good. Now, I wouldn't normally do this at this point, but because we're doing a lesson here, I'm going to do it anyway, just to show you what I would do later. Okay, so just to see what their site will look like, you just go your Duda Mobile. I've already got their browser address pasted in there. And nobody else has done this in Duda, because otherwise there'd be an _1 there. Okay, we'll go to restaurants. And we'll just say convert. And this usually only takes a few seconds just to see what it turns out like. Sometimes Duda can't do a good site for something like this because of the JavaScript and stuff, so but we'll take a look anyway. So this would be your procedure. Okay, and let's see what it comes up with. Oh, not bad. Okay, so you could, at this point, we could pop in a button, like a loyalty button later on, and then we'll do a before and after here. I've got another way of doing this on the spreadsheet, but I'm just going to, for illustration purposes, let's take a look at it. So this didn't take long. Really, this is a great little site, Duda. Okay, so at this point you would snip out, let's get rid of that, use your snipper tool, and you create the before and after. Okay, except that that's not the one I would use right now. I would pop in the loyalty button first, but you get the idea. We would be sending a postcard to these guys, okay? So down here, we'll do postcard, okay? And that's how you would pick a postcard. So let's just look, see which one this is here. So it looks something like that with the before and after and their address basically. There's your logo and all that. That's actually that's not the postcard. Let's go back to postcard. It's going to be a 5x7 there. It'll be the postcard. Or you could mail them something. I mean, it's up to you, but that's what I would do with these ones. So this is sort of just an exercise to show you what to put in here. And then when you actually get your Word document, you can pick and choose which template you're going to use to send out, basically. And that's the point of this lesson here. So that's pretty well it for this lesson, and we'll go on to the next.